Hello, hello. Thank you for joining me. This is day one, reading favorite quotes from book 15 by Stanislav Grof. It's called The Cosmic Game, Explorations of the Frontiers of Human Consciousness. In the case that you're interested in learning more about the book, I've included a link in the notes. Insights from research into non-ordinary states of consciousness portray existence as an astonishing play of the cosmic creative principle that transcends time, space, linear causality, and polarities of every kind, and suggest an identity of the individual psyche in its furthest reaches with the universal creative concept and the totality of existence. This identity of the human being with the divine is the ultimate secret that lies at the core of all great spiritual traditions. Stanislav Grof is a psychiatrist who teaches at California Institute of Integral Studies and is the founder of the International Transpersonal Association. I was originally introduced to Stan Grof's work when I was getting to know a colleague, and we were talking about our areas of interest. At the time, I was volunteering at the local crisis center and answering phone calls once a week for their crisis intervention programs. And I talked with my colleague about my keen interest in the possibilities during moments of crisis to open doorways to enlightenment. He almost immediately suggested that I check out Stan Grof's work. Today I'll be reading the most moving quotes for me from the first 50 or so pages of The Cosmic Game, and I hope you enjoy. As the revolutionary advances of various disciplines of modern science continue to lift the spell of the outdated materialistic worldview, we begin to see the outlines of a new comprehensive understanding of ourselves, nature, and the universe. It is increasingly clear that this emerging alternative approach to existence will integrate science and spirituality and introduce important elements of the ancient wisdom into our technological world. Holotropic is a word used frequently in this book. You see, I'm in Wikipedia, and one of the first things we read is this is coined by psychiatrist Stanislav Grof. Oriented or moving towards wholeness. Holotropic experiences reach far beyond the boundaries of what the Anglo-American writer and philosopher Alan Watts facetiously called the skin-encapsulated ego. They can take us into vast territories of the psyche as yet uncharted by Western psychologists and psychiatrists. Page 24. Genuine religion is universal, all-inclusive, and all-encompassing. It has to transcend specific culture-bound archetypal images and focus on the ultimate source of all forms. The most important question in the world of religion is thus the nature of the supreme principle in the universe. What is soundless, touchless, formless, imperishable, likewise tasteless, constant, odorless, without beginning, without end, higher than the great stable? By discerning that, one is liberated from the mouth of death. Katha Upanishad. Page 32. It is interesting that the concept of the vacuum that is a plenum and of the pregnant void also exists in modern physics. A statement by Paul Dirac, one of the founders of quantum physics and the father of antimatter, describes it in these words: all matter is created out of some imperceptible substratum, and the creation of matter leaves behind it a hole in this substratum, which appears as antimatter. Now, this substratum itself is not accurately described as material, since it uniformly fills all space and is undetectable by any observation, but it is a peculiarly material form of nothingness out of which matter is created. Page 33. If everything is causally determined, what is the original cause, the cause of causes, the prime mover? If energy has to be conserved, where did it come from in the first place? And what about the origin of matter, space, and time? Experiencing absolute consciousness, the void, and their mutual relationship makes it possible to transcend the baffling paradoxes that plague scientists theorizing about a material universe governed by causality and mechanical laws. Any descriptions and definitions have to rely on words that have been developed to denote objects and activities in the material world as it is experienced in daily life. For this reason, ordinary language proves to be inappropriate and inadequate when we want to communicate about the experiences and insights encountered in various holotropic states of consciousness. Page 39. The material world of our everyday life, including our own body, is an intricate tissue of misperceptions and misreadings. It is a playful and somewhat arbitrary product of the cosmic creative principle, an infinitely sophisticated virtual reality, a divine play created by absolute consciousness and the cosmic void. Our universe that appears to contain countless myriads of separate entities and elements is in its deepest nature just one being of immense proportions and unimaginable complexity. Nothing short of the experience of mystical unity with the divine source will quench our deepest longing. Because of the inherent limitations of our intellectual faculties, the human attempts to understand the reasons or motives for creation will never be completely satisfactory. Reason is an inadequate instrument for the analysis of transcendental dimensions of existence and of principles that operate on a very high metaphysical level. Ultimately, true understanding in these matters is possible only through direct personal experience. Thank you for joining me today in my studies. I will look forward to reading my favorite quotes from the next 50 or so pages again tomorrow. Have a good day.